Hi guys, Aditya here. So today we'll be discussing on something very interesting. Not Sachin Tendulkar exactly, would be interesting, but we'll be discussing today on what an infinite scroll is. So basically, to give a small hint on what an infinite scroll means is that when we see, when we use any app, Twitter, because the example is shown here, and anything, Instagram, Facebook, Swiggy, Zomato, whatnot, right? We have a lot of data in hand. Now, if you go and just go into Sachin Tendulkar's profile on Twitter, he has made 3,900 tweets, approximately 3,900 tweets. So if you feel that when you go to Sachin Tendulkar's profile and at once these 3,900 tweets are loaded, that is, I'm not saying that is not practically possible, but that would be a very costly affair, right? It would be a very costly effect. Why I'm saying so? Because 3,900 tweets, that is a lot of data to incur at one time. What it means is that the API will be supposed to fetch approximately 4,000, and now 4,000 tweets in this case. Now consider someone who has made 50,000 tweets. Okay, we are expecting 50,000 tweets to be queried at once. That will take a lot of time. One, and it will be a lot of data for the UI to manage. The UI will definitely be a bit shaky. Okay, so what these any app follows is an infinite scroll. What it means is that when you keep scrolling, posts are coming one by one, and you feel that okay, fine, these posts were already loaded. Even I think normally no one actually waits or something like that, right? So it intelligently will load the posts, a bunch of posts at a time. So to give this example, let's take Twitter for example, and let's scroll very hastily. Okay. So you see the loader, right? That loader came very momentarily. All right. So what it does is that when you are basically, when I'm refreshing the page and when you are on the start of the page, what it does is that it will fetch maybe some 20 or 25 tweets. Okay. And once you scroll down, now let's say you are on the 15th or 16th tweet, you're going tweet wise and reading the tweets, and you're somewhere around 15th or 16th tweet. The front end will notice where you are. It will say that, hey, it's time, let's get this person more tweets. It will query the API, it will get more 20 or 25 tweets, and it will load it to the DOM. All right. So that is the way how it works. And that is only this way, it's only feasible, right? Why I'm saying it's feasible this way is because to get all the data at once is a lot. All right, on back end, front end, servers, everywhere. So basically we will be discussing on this infinite scroll today. So I've made something very small of my own. So currently I have loaded 10 tweets, 10 posts. Let's say that these bars are posts. Okay, we have our own social site wherein we show just colors as posts. So let's say that this is post 1, post 2, post 3, and whatnot. All right. Now, if I scroll down hastily, you see that loader, right? And you saw that loader for a moment, and then more posts were loaded. Now notice that for a regularization basis, to understand what we are loading, I have loaded 10 posts at one time. The first post is colored as red, and the last post is colored as indigo. And from the 11th, again, it will follow the same convention. The 11th post will be red, the 20th post will be indigo. So let's not go into that. Let's refresh the page again. Okay. So to achieve this infinite posts, right? There are 3 important entities that any HTML gives us. Okay. Let's first dock it on the side. Okay, we are on the console. Now we get this property on the document element entity. All right. So there are 3 important things before showing that here on the console, I would just like to describe what those three are. So one is, keep this as a canvas, okay? This is a huge canvas of which we are only able to see a % of the canvas. You would agree, right? I have loaded 10 posts. So if I go into my elements, you'll be able to see that I have loaded 10 posts, right? If I see, I'm able to see just a fraction of 5th post. I'm not able to see the 6, 7, 8, and 9th indexed posts, right? So I'm not able to see the last 4 posts, which are flown below the view. All right. So that is my entire area. That is my entire converse. But I'm just able to see that this part of the converse. Okay. Clear till here? So how do we identify what area of the canvas we are seeing and what not, right? So we just, so basically one is that we have a client height. All right. Client height is the height that we are, height of the canvas that we are able to see. So for me, it will always be 667 pixels, right? Because that's the height of my browser or my window or whatever. Right? It'll be different in mobiles, and it'll be different in based on different sizes, iPads or whatever, tablets. On desktops, it'll be different, right? So if you want to see the difference, I'll just show you the difference. So when we had docked this debug tools to the side, it was 667. Now if you see, it's 308. Why it is 308? Because the height that we are able to see is only this much, right? So it works like that. Okay. So I hope it's clear till here. Let's again dock it to the side. Good. Let me get rid of some things. We don't need this, right? Then we have the entire area. We need to know what the entire content is, right? How much place the entire content is taking. For that, we have scroll height. It means that what is the entire scroll view that these 10 posts are taking. It's 1148. All right. Then the third very important thing is scroll top. Okay, currently it's 0. What is scroll top? Scroll top is basically this part of a screen. Okay. Now, I have not scrolled even a little bit, so that is why it is 0. Let's say that we scroll a little. Okay, we just scroll some amount of the first post. I did. All right, that's clear. I have consoled a few things. That is why. So now you see the scroll top is 58. Now, if you see that each of my posts are basically 100 pixel in height, I have given them 100 pixel in height and 600 pixel in width. So we are just seeing the fraction of that 100 pixel. Let me annotate. We are just seeing this part of the 100 pixels, right? And how much is that? That is 42 pixels. We have already scrolled 58 pixels, right? So let me again scroll the entire part of this. So now, according to me, I'm hoping that the scroll height will be around, scroll top will be around 100. Yeah, so it's 110. Okay. So basically, now you understand, right? These three entities together give me that how much content the user has already viewed, right? So how am I going to use it? Okay. Now, if you see there are two variations, or there are three parts. Okay. The part that the user has already seen and it is out of the view, right? This is very important to understand that this is no longer in the view. I mean, this part, not exactly this, but this part. Okay, that means the red color post that is not in the view, right? Now we are, if you see, now we are able to see a new post, right? We are able to see this blue colored post too now, right? And this is the part that I'm currently able to view. Right? If you see, that is always of the same height, right? If you see, it's still 667. What it means is that on my 667 pixel view, what is the content loaded? Not exactly what is the content loaded, but at a point of time, I'm just able to see the 667 pixels on my height, right, on my screen, which is this. And this is the remaining things that we have not yet seen. Right? First, this was bigger, but now we have viewed certain things and we have let them flow on top of the screen. We are this is the part that we are viewing on the screen, and this is the part that we are yet to view, right? So let's do a bit of maths. Okay, this is my scroll top, which is currently 110. Okay, then I have my client height, right, which is 667. Okay, and I have my full canvas, what I would like to call it, or what we usually, what in the DOM perspective, what we call is we call as scroll height, right? That we saw was 1148. Right? Now, if you notice that we have viewed the content worth 110 plus 667 pixels, right? Agreed? So now, if I scroll more, it means that I have seen more content. That means those 2 or 3 are the posts that I've already seen, and it has flown out of my top view, right? So we have to do a maths of somehow that once this scroll top plus client height is equal to scroll height, it means that we've seen the entire content. If we want to see this, then we can see this also. Let me comment out a few code that I have written. This will be more than enough. Right? Let me go back and refresh this. Let me get rid of these marks. Okay. So what I've written in my console, and I hope this will come in the console. Okay, it's not coming in the console, but nevertheless, right? So currently, what is my scroll top? Let's start from the scroll top, because that is the starting of the content that we're seeing. Currently it's 0. That means we're starting to see the posts. What is my client height? 667 pixels. Perfect. Good. And what is my scroll height? 1148. Right. Now, if I am somewhere here, that means I've seen almost 3 posts. Now, if I print my scroll top, it's 309. See, scroll client height will be the same, 667, and scroll height will also remain the same, 1148. Now, say that I reach the bottom of it. Now, let's see what the scroll top is. 481. Client height will remain the same, 667, and so will the scroll height, 1148. Right. Now, let's add 481 and 667, right? So 481 plus 667, what does this give me? This gives me 1148. And why wouldn't it? We are at the bottom of our page. We have viewed all the content, right? So this is these are the elements that I'm going to use, or we will be using to determine to load more posts. Right now, we could on a very high level view, we could just say that when scroll top plus client height, when this becomes equal to our scroll height, it means that we've reached the end of the page, right? This is the plus symbol. It means that we've reached the end of the page, right? And we would assume that once this is achieved, then we will query the API and then we'll load more posts. What this would do is that this would cost more time. Okay, now we'll be talking about optimization, right? This will be causing more time. What it means is that once I reach to the bottom of my page, then an event would be fired that, hey, this person has reached the bottom of his or her page. Let's load some more content for him. Okay, so it means that we will show the loading symbol. It will take that 1 or 2 seconds to load the symbol, and then it will come to the DOM. Then we'll display in the DOM, right? That does not take a lot of time, but the API transaction is what takes more time. So what could we do to reduce this time? Okay, so what I did was that I am not waiting that scroll top plus client height, it would exactly be equal to the scroll height. What I am doing is that I am taking a buffer. What I am saying is, all I'm saying is that if scroll top plus client height and I'm giving a buffer of giving a buffer of 300 pixels, or I should add these 300 pixels. If scroll top plus client height plus 300 pixels is equals to scroll height, then query the API and then get the results. So keep the results ready before this person reaches the bottom of the posts, right? So what it would mean is that if the scroll top, the client height will always be 667. In the beginning, the scroll height will be 1148. Okay. So if this is, I think, around 150, if this is around 150, the scroll top is around 150. It means if the person has seen 3 posts, right, and the client height is 667, what would this sum up to? This would sum up to something like 850 approx, right? Just take an example, right? That if the user has already seen the content worth 850 pixels, or the window at least has loaded the content worth 850 pixels, then call the API and keep the next 10 posts ready so that I don't have to wait for the user or wait for the user to reach the bottom of his or her post and then load the content. Because that UI wise, that would this would not cause any issue backend wise, but UI wise, the user will have to wait more. Okay, so to just keep that engagement of the user regular, we can do these kind of things, right? So let's see how that pans out. Let's jump into the code. Before jumping into the code, let's see the live example also. Getting rid of these things. All right. So I had commented a piece of code. Let's uncomment that. Now, let's see. Okay. Now let's say that we are on Instagram and we are seeing posts. I saw the first post and I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling slowly. You saw that, right? That these posts were already loaded. I didn't even see the loader. So my engagement is constant. Now, if I hurriedly go to the bottom, then it is okay to show the loader for half a second or something. Not it's not up to us to show the loader, but at that point of time we can say the user that, hey, I'm loading more posts, just hang on. Okay, so for that amount of time I can show the loader. Now suppose these posts are loaded, and these posts, let's say these are engaging, and we kept our engagement and we are seeing posts rise, and then we reach the bottom. Before we could reach the bottom, that is before we could reach the indigo block, it already loaded the next 10 posts and it kept it ready for us to view, and it inserted those 10 new posts into the DOM, right? Okay, so to do this, what I have done is that let's jump into the code and let's see the HTML, right? I have kept a div which is called the scroll area, and we will append the child posts. I'm calling the posts the children of this particular div. All right, we will, because it has to be loaded dynamically, so we will use JavaScript to load it. Nothing much fancy here, and just that the loader that will be shown at the bottom, it will be shown once it is necessary to show the loader, right? So coming to the posts, like I told, our first post is red, the 10th post is indigo, and the circle will continue. All right. So what is this item? This will keep the track of the items loaded so that we are able to give them IDs. All right. Each item has a unique ID. All right. So when we come into the, when we load the screen, what happens? These are just initializations. We can run through that. This is calling a post function. What is this post? We are just creating those elements, right? So each time we are creating 10 elements, right? So on first go, we are creating 10 elements. So each element, you see how dynamically it's created. I'm creating a div. I'm setting the attribute item. So this is basically, it will keep a count of how much item has been loaded, right? So that is the ID. I'm giving a class post for CSS purpose, and background color of this particular array. These are 10 colors that I've randomly written. Okay. So first it will take red, then green, yellow, pink, blah, 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 indigo. All right. And I'm doing an item plus plus. Before doing an item plus plus, I'm appending this div that I have created to the scroll pan that we have just seen in the HTML, right? So initially we have these 10 posts loaded, right? Now let's see what happens. I'm adding an event listener, scroll. So basically, let's see what happens. All right. So if I go to that event listener, if I scroll, since I put my breakpoint, you see here, right, that since the scroll event is happening, the breakpoint comes here and it is giving me some information, or I can, I can extract the 3 important information that we wanted to procure, right? So let's go back to the code. That listen to the event listener. If scroll event listener is called, then the match that we did, right? If client height plus scroll top is greater than or equal to the scroll height minus 300. We kept a buffer of 300 pixels, if you remember, right? The difference was that while calculating, I did a plus 300 here. While implementing, I'm doing a minus 300 here. So just to call that out, right? If this is achieved, okay, then we want to load more posts. Now, to load more posts, if there already more posts are being loaded and we scroll further down, what it would mean is that again it would fire this this event listener, and it would come inside this function. It would satisfy this condition, and again more posts will be loaded, right? So at each scroll, I only want 10 more posts to be loaded. Okay. So what mistake we make is that I will make that mistake and we will see what that mistake is. Fine. Commenting this out. Let me also remove the breakpoint. Okay. Cool. So see, currently I have 10 posts loaded. Okay. And when I'm scrolling, I only want 10 more posts to load. Rather, it's not me. It would be the system that would want 10 more posts to be loaded, right? It would not like to be overwhelmed. So let me scroll hurriedly down. You see that, right? How many posts have been loaded? 130 posts have been loaded. It means that when we were scrolling, we did that so hastily that post after post after post kept on loading. But that should not be, again, because that will be a lot of data at once. So we'll have to say that, hey, already it has reached a certain extent and I'm already querying the server to give me more posts. So just wait. So to do this, what I've done is that let's go back. I have introduced a variable is loading posts, which initially is false. All right. If this is false initially, so this will become true. And here I'm making it true. Okay. And I'm showing the loading symbol. That is, as simple as just showing a CSS trick. And I'm saying get more posts. Now here is Here is why I have done all this drama to make the UI understand that it's an asynchronous call. Already the server is, I have asked the server to give me more posts. The process is in initiation, so don't be in a hurry, wait. All right, so I'm calling this get posts function again just to give it a asynchronous nature. I have just put this in asynchronous function because let's face it, making network calls, making HTTP calls is an asynchronous process, right? So here it is calling load more posts, which is returning a promise. Again, if you've seen my previous video, this is just like a dummy promise, which will always resolve to be true. Okay, I'm just giving a set timeout here, which is just to give a feel that this is an API call or this is a network call, so it might take time. So I'm giving it a 1 second buffer or 1000 milliseconds buffer. And in here, I'm loading 10 more posts. I'm calling this particular function that was called on the load of the page. So again, so this will call this particular function posts, which will again load 10 posts. Now notice item is already 9, right? Because 10 posts are loaded, index 0 from 9. So item will start from 10, right? Because last time we did item plus plus. So apologies, item is 10. So now it will start from 10. All right, this loop will run only 10 times, but item will start from 10 and 10, 11, 12, dot, 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 till 19. And at the last will become 20, right? So that we have these ID separate. All right, so this is how we can achieve this particular thing seamlessly, or infinite scroll seamlessly. So if we go back, let's refresh. All right, if I come down here, so you see that, right? Did I not save it? Have, right? All right. So you saw that, right? So now if you see, 10 more posts are only loaded. Even if I go down hastily, 10 more posts only will be loaded. Okay. So this is how we can make it more seamless. And on each scroll, even if someone, we tend to make the scroll things very overwhelming, right? When we keep on scrolling, right? So this will be a structure not to overwhelm the network that, hey, this guy has scrolled 5 times, you have to give me 50 posts at once. No, we will say that, yes, you have reached the bottom once. So we will ask the network to give me 10 or 20 more posts, and it's no point scrolling stubbornly more times, right? So that is how it would, the UI. So this is all UI. This is the onus on the UI, that it is making this process so seamless. Right? It is not even overwhelming the server. It is not overwhelming the DOM as well. Right? So this is how we implement an infinite scroll. As always, I will put the link to the code, GitHub URL to the code on the description. Okay, please go and check that out, see the code. We did not go into the discussion of code much because we were discussing those important DOM elements that help us decide, right? After deciding, it's not a big deal, right? But to decide, to make a decision and make this process more seamless, I feel that is more important. Now, if we keep scrolling down, we will get more posts, and whatnot. If I scroll down, now notice we have so much posts on the top, right? What we have implemented is an infinite scroll with respect to the bottom. If we scroll down, we are seeing this infinite scroll, right? But now if you see how much content I have loaded is 100 posts. So to keep this 100 posts in the DOM is costly, right? UI will be overwhelmed with data, right? So there has to be a reason and understanding that if now we've reached into the post number 95 to 100. Okay, so we can forget about the first 40 or first 50 posts, right? That is already on the DOM. We can just spill it out of the DOM. We can spill it out of our variables or DOM, right? So what it would mean is that, again, this gives a scope for upward infinity scroll, right? If I've loaded 200 posts, it's not that I can keep these 200 posts in my DOM. It's a lot. I have to forget those posts that are above. So what do you think, after seeing this video, what do you think is a better way to approach this upward infinity scroll? All right. If you got the question, then think about it and let me know what you think about an upward infinity scroll. And if there are any doubts, please leave your comments, what your doubts are, or if something is unclear, right? So give it a thought what this upward infinity scroll is. It's an interesting thing. So that's all about it. Please let me know what you think about this video and stay safe. Thanks.